The Rings of Fate Scene 6. I am not a baby. I proudly sat back to see the words I put together. They were the most important words I had ever spelt. I turned to call to Jennifer in my baby talk. Once I had got her attention, she would read the bricks. She couldn't help but see them standing there in the front of the playpen. She would realize that the real Susie could not have accomplished such a feat. I was saved. But as I turned, I felt myself being lifted, and as I was lifted, my feet were swung so as to scatter the bricks. I looked up to see Susie's grinning face. I looked down to see that all my effort was in vain. The bricks did not spell anything recognizable. Put me down, I wailed. Bedtime, Susie. Jenny and I are going to play horsey. We can't leave you down here on your own, Susie informed me as he picked up my dummy and forced it into my mouth. Warm her bottle up, Jen. Once she's had that, she'll be out like a light. Nice try, David, Susie whispered as we left the room. I knew you were up to something when you cuddled my dolly. If you hadn't have made it so obvious, you may have got away with it. She laughed, holding my dummy against my lips so I couldn't eject it, therefore reducing my wails to less audible proportions. You are going to have to face up to the fact that you are now me, David, she grinned. I've come to terms with being you and I love it, she gloated. You're a baby, she sang in a hoarse whisper. She carried me into the nursery. I hope you like your nursery, David. I know I used to, but your room is much better. There's no cot or playpen to keep me in. There's books and comics and of course your computer. I don't care for your taste in clothes though, but I'll change all them eventually. Yours won't change much though. You are going to have to get used to wearing all these pretty baby dresses, she laughed, opening the wardrobe to show me the racks of her clothes. And no one but you and me will know that the little baby girl wearing these pretty baby dresses used to be a 16-year-old boy, she mocked, drawing the door closed and offering our reflections to the mirror. Look at us, David, what do you see? A grown boy carrying a pretty baby girl. Who would ever believe that you were once me and I was once you? You are never going to convince anyone that you are not a baby, well, not by tomorrow anyway, and after that it will be too late, she laughed. What will be too late, David? Jennifer asked as she walked in wearing nothing but a pair of blue skimpy panties. Susie's bedtime if we let her stay up, Susie flushed, handing me to her. Yes, Susie, Jennifer agreed. Babies like you need lots of sweepy, weepy, she cooed as she sat in the nursing chair and offered me the bottle. I did not want to take it and tried to push it away. Persistently she pressed the nipple against my lips until it slipped in between them as I tried to protest. Come on, Susie, she softly urged, forcing me to suck on the teat and drink the sedative-laced milk. That's a good girl, she smiled into my face maternally. Don't you wish you were a baby sometimes, David? Jennifer never took her eyes from mine. No way, Jen, Susie grinned. I have been a baby once, I never want to be a baby again. The milk steadily disappeared as I sucked and I began to feel drowsy. Jennifer put me over her bare shoulder and winded me prior to gently laying me in my cot. I felt my dummy being slipped into my mouth and Jemima being tucked into my arms. I was quite drowsy when I woke the following morning. It took a while for the cot bars to come into focus. At first I wondered what they were, dreamily believing I was sleeping in my other bed. As my eyes focused, so did my mind, and the same feelings of fear of being stuck in this body forever turned in my stomach. I still had the dummy in my mouth and was sucking furtively on it. Jemima was still in my arms, and I knew by the feeling in between my legs that I had dirted and wet my nappy while I slept. I wondered what time it was. There was no bedside clock in this bedroom to tell me. I had to know how little time I had left to rescue my life. The house seemed very quiet, and for a second I wondered if Father, Mother, and Susie had left for the airport already. They've gone, it's too late. You are a baby, I wailed in panic. Can you see to Susie, David? Mother called from the kitchen. Sure, Mum, I heard my old voice shout back from my old bedroom. Susie sauntered in, grinning from ear to ear. She was already dressed in my jeans, t-shirt, and trainers. Well, today's the day, David. Susie had a twinkle in her eye. Today's the day you become me for the rest of your life. You can say goodbye to all hope of saving yourself. I'm not going to leave you alone for 1 second. Susie dumped me on the changing table and strapped me on. She lifted my legs and unfastened the flap in my sleep suit. I'm leaving you in this until after breakfast, he informed me. I know how useless your hands are in this baby grow. I wore it for long enough. I don't want mum or dad seeing any of your party tricks. He pulled my legs out, removed my plastic pants and unpinned my dirty sodden nappy. I am so glad to be out of these, he grimaced, peeling it off and dropping it into a nappy pail. You are going to wear them now instead of me and it serves you right. He began cleaning me with a baby wipe. Whatever possessed you to use those rings, David? Why did you want to know what it was like to be me? I just can't understand it, a grown boy of 16 wanting to know what it is like to be a baby girl. Well, you know now, don't you? And I bet you hate it. Didn't you consider the risk of swapping minds? Didn't you consider the fact that you could be left in my body forever? A clean nappy was pushed under my bottom and pinned together. Perhaps you did and thought it would be exciting to risk losing all you'd worked for. Well, you have lost it, David. I wonder if you consider the risk was worth it now, she laughed, working my legs into the sleeper and refastening the poppers. I tried to remain calm. I needed all my wits about me this morning. Sucking on my dummy helped. I just needed one chance, just one chance to show my parents that I wasn't who I appeared to be. They had used the rings, they would realize exactly what had happened, I would be saved. If there was any justice in the world, then I would get my chance, I thought. One transgression on my part should not condemn me to a life sentence of babyhood. I felt tears filling my eyes but fought valiantly against them. Here she is, Susie sang in my voice as she carried me into the kitchen. My parents were sat at the table eating their breakfasts. Mother smiled at me. Hello, sweetie, she cooed as David strapped me into the high chair. She seems a lot better this morning, Frank, Mother observed as David tied my bib on. She just needed some rest, Dad smiled, looking at me over his glasses. David placed the two-handled beaker on my tray. I was very thirsty, so I spat my dummy out and picked the cup up with 2 hands. Why have you left Susie in her sleep suit, David? You know she can't feed herself in those mittens, Mother told Susie off. Sorry, Mum, don't worry, I'll feed her. Susie smiled. True to her word, she was ensuring I never got the opportunity to do anything other than baby actions. Father was the first to leave the table, Mother shortly after. Susie continued to feed me from a bowl of rusks and milk. I bet you never thought you'd end up in a high chair being spoon-fed, did you, David? Susie grinned. Not much fun, is it? Get used to it, David. I'm never going back into that baby chair. I've got you to take my place, she sniggered. I could see the time ticking away on the clock in the kitchen. Susie noticed me looking at the clock. Not much longer, David, then it will all be over. You'll be stuck in my body forever, and I'll be free. Oh, did I tell you, Dad's taking me to Egypt with him in the summer. I'm really looking forward to it. Guess what you'll be doing? You can't. Well, I'll tell you. I have persuaded Mum to come with us. Everyone has agreed she needs a holiday, even she says she needs a break, especially so because the way you've been acting lately, Susie grinned. So Mum has agreed to come and you are going to stay with Mrs. West and the twins. I burst out crying at this news. That's right, David, you're going to play house with Samantha and Caroline. Won't that be fun? Mother walked into the kitchen. Is she still playing up? I hope the doctor can find out what's wrong. I've never seen her this upset before. Her voice was full of concern. Do you think it's a good idea to trail her all the way to the airport, Mum? Susie asked, never taking her eyes off me. I could stay at home and babysit her, she volunteered. Mother considered the idea for a second. I don't think so, David. You know your father likes us all to see him off. We'll just have to put up with her temper tantrums until the doctor can sort her out. But thanks anyway, it was sweet of you to offer. Sweet? Susie was not being sweet, she was ensuring that I had less chances to escape the fate that was staring me in the face. Well, if you like, I'll get Susie dressed while you help Dad pack, Susie smiled. Thanks, honey, that will be a great help. I don't know what's come over you in the last few days, but I've got to say, it's a change for the better, Mother smiled. I hope you're not going to change back, she added. Never, Mum, Susie grinned. You have my word on that.